Hello, everybody. It's December 20th, 2025. It's 2 minutes before 10 p.m., and I'll wait for you guys to come in. I hope everybody's doing well. I just recorded a testimony that needs to be edited. I'll wait for you guys to receive notification because I'm a couple of minutes early. And as an FYI, I'm in subscribers mode only. So that means if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll automatically be joined into the live once you click on the link. And I need to mute these alerts. So it's actually 10 o'clock now. Hello, everybody. I see there are 3 people. I haven't, you know what? Let me write something in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. I don't see anybody in the chat yet, but I see that there are 3 people listening. So I hope everybody's doing well. It's 10 o'clock. It is Saturday night, December 20th, few days before. Hi, Just Me, Florida. Welcome, welcome. Just a few days before Christmas for anybody that celebrates. And tomorrow is the winter solstice. So we all know the witchy poos, they're going to be out there prancing around in the woods. Their little candles and little bitchcraft. Prancing around in the woods in the freezing cold. Hi, con artist. Welcome. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I mean, the days are just flying by. It's like one day into the next, into the next, into the next. I cannot believe it's the end of December already. Before you know it, it'll be 2026, and I'll have a hard time writing that number, as I usually do, like for the first few weeks of the new year. Hi, Joe. Welcome, welcome. Yes, that's wonderful. Joe is always so positive. He says, hope we're all having a pleasant Saturday. Remember, you are loved, sovereign, and belong. Continue being resilient, everybody. Just me says, you have me checking my peanut butter when I come home from going out. Yeah, please check your peanut butter and hit the thumbs up. Can you tell me about your knee? Oh, I haven't had time. I want to post photos. Um, well, back in 2020, there was a covert surgical procedure performed on my knee. I had perfect knees. There's nothing wrong with my knees or my legs until now, and that's why they want to isolate the victim. They want to isolate the victim so that nobody can see what they're doing to you, including your peanut butter. Please remember to hit the thumbs up, guys. Yes. So, it was a little bit warmer today and the sun was finally shining for a little bit, but I didn't get to see any of it. How's everybody doing? Well, I found out some very interesting information that I'm going to have to follow up on about property and lands and the things nefarious people do behind your back. Aside from the fact that they're just destroying everything here, but welcome, welcome everybody. Remember to hit the thumbs up. I see there are 10 people listening, although there are people that listen that don't go into the chat. And I have so many new books now that I wanted to go through this one book today and mark it so that I could read it, but I might just pull it up and read a little bit from it anyway. You gave yourself a haircut. Well, good for you. You have your own hair trimmers. That's great. It's really not that difficult to cut your own hair. I mean, it can be a little challenging at first, not knowing exactly what to do, but there's so many YouTube videos on people cutting hair. It saves a lot of money. I mean, there's so many things that people can do to save money. Like when I lived in New Jersey, honestly, like most of the women there, they did not cut their own hair. They didn't dye their own hair. They went for nail appointments and hair appointments and facials and the gym and all that stuff. They spent a lot of money. Hi, Vivian. Welcome. You look like a skinhead. Oh, did you shave your head? There are a lot of Target TI guys that are shaving their heads because they find that it feels better, with the targeting and stuff. You look like a skinhead. You'd always wear like a hat. You got a buzz cut. You say hair is a shield. I mean, I feel like hair is a shield. It keeps your head warm too. But I've noticed, like, hi River Bluff, welcome. B Dawn, I've noticed that a lot of guys are shaving their heads. Like Onion Head Andrew is always shaving his head. I mean, some people say that hair conducts, whatever it is they're doing to us, and then other people say, no, you should shave your hair, shave the hair on your body. Yes, an antenna, that's what the word I was looking for, that it's like an antenna, that your hair is an antenna. I don't know. I mean, most people have hair somewhere on their bodies, right? Yes, they do know. So how's everybody doing? I cannot believe it's like December 20th. We've got the solstice tomorrow, Christmas in a few days. That's a good point. Hair or no hair, the skin sensors are still there. Exactly. Oh, that stuff is horrible. I remember trying that stuff as a teenager and thinking, "I'm never gonna use this stuff again." I figured, the nair gets into the hair follicle so that, when you shave your legs, as a teenage girl, it grows back. And then you get these little stubbles and stuff like that. I remember using Nair once or twice, and it was just it smelled horrible, it was disgusting. I would never use that stuff, no. There was one time, I guess it was many years ago, I did the hair waxing thing, oh my god. They put this hot wax on your legs and then place like, a piece of paper over it and then snap it off your leg, and off comes the hair. Ugh. Oh, yes, I really like Candace Owens. I really like her. I don't always have time to watch her videos, but they're so engaging. Like, I love her sense of humor. I love the way she does not back down and that she will call out people, but it's a good thing that she's got a legal team behind her and so many people donating money to help her. So, yeah, I like her. And I hope you get an opportunity to watch that video. It's really, um, what's the word? It's disturbing, but the truth comes out. Is closed captioning turned on? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's an option for that in the chat. Why do you ask? I know what happens after the live stream. You'll be able to watch the not only watch the live, but the chat replay, but it usually takes at least 12 hours for YouTube to go through it all and then have it available for people who have not been. I don't know, I've never seen an option for closed captioning. The creepy voice isn't here yet. That's that's good. Well, last week, I would say that was like the first hour, I think, there was no creepy voice. Maybe creepy voice has another live stream to invade. Nick wants to make a baby with Candace Owens. Oh, that's too funny. Well, she's got a cute husband already. Yes, it started like an hour into it last week, but usually it's all the way in the beginning. So I'm glad to hear that you don't hear creepy. Yeah, that was a good live stream. What I do when I listen to long podcasts and stuff like that, I'm always doing something else. And I just remember like stopping when I heard them say certain things about the military and then at the end and it's like it was unbelievable. Nick, wasn't it you in the comments section you said that Kansas should run for president? Oh, they would never let that happen. But she'd make a great president. I don't think she would anyway. I don't think she would ever run for president. She's got a family, children. I saw she was interviewed. This was a short, I just go through the shorts sometimes. And she was interviewed by somebody, I don't know who it was, but He was challenging her about Brigitte Marcon, and then Candace just flat out says, she has a penis. Like, every time he would challenge her, she would just say, she has a penis." She's so bold. Oh, that's so interesting. I've not heard that theory. They say that, Macron is a test tube baby. I've not heard that theory. Well, wait a minute. I think there's another sibling, though. Look up his birth certificate. I think that's what Kansas did. She looked up the birth certificate. You know, the Vanguard Group is the largest contributor to turn. No, I did not know that. See, I honestly, I don't know anything about Turning Point USA. I don't know. I never heard of them. I never heard of Charlie Kirk. I did not know who he was. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting about that birth certificate. I'm not going to talk too much about this, but I'm reading your comments, and I that's fascinating. I mean, there's so many things going on, like, in the world that I would like to pay closer attention to. I just don't have the time. But, after listening to that podcast, I had to make a comment about it. And also after the deleting of the MIT professor, there's no way I was gonna ignore that one. I heard that. I heard that, Nick, and I actually heard that on one of her shows. And then, of course, there were a couple of other, YouTube creators that pulled that comment and reposted it on their channel, so I've heard it multiple times. You know, and again, I don't know what that means to her. I don't know what that means to her. And, sometimes we could take some things out of context. I mean, she's obviously, a Christian woman. So, I don't know, a lot of those groups, like this Turning Point USA now, it just now that I know about it, a lot of these groups with all these large contributors, you have to wonder what their mission really is. What's all the funding for? What's the real mission? Well, I didn't know anything about him before. So Bidon says he's now only that physics professor, even in death. Well, most of us did not know who the physics professor was. There are wonderful professors in every state across the country that we're not familiar with. I'm sure he's a published professor. He's probably got research and papers in whatever research papers, the publishers that publish those types of papers. I'm not interested in that stuff. So it's not something that I would have been subscribed to have even known who he was. But after reading more about what exactly he researched and what a wonderful person he was, it was really disturbing. Yeah, Candace is super smart. She's like smart as a whip. Well, that's interesting that you say that, Nick, because other people have said that that might be true. Well, his name is Nuno Larrero. Hi, Amy. Welcome, welcome. So, if anybody is not familiar with this or have not heard the video, I'll post the link in the description in the description in the chat. One second, let me just cut and paste this. My laptop is a very slow. I don't know what the problem is today. So I posted the link to the director Nuno Larreo Plasma Science and Fusion Center. And I read his bio, which is fascinating. I'm not familiar with the type of research that it is, but it just sounded fascinating that it's a specialized area. I bet Catherine Horton knows what it is. 47 is young. And he had been working there for 10 years. It's just these research professors, I mean, part of what they're required to do in addition to their job and overseeing staff, etc., and is writing papers, researching and writing papers. And when you're researching, you almost always come across or deduce information that you didn't previously recognize or know. You get these aha moments, and inventions come out of those aha moments. And I guarantee that he stumbled across some information that other people wanted. They probably didn't want to pay for it. And anything regarding any type of free energy or manipulation of energy, etc., is immediately shut down by the powers that be. Who knows? He may have exactly suppressed technology, exactly. He may have applied for some patent that we're not aware of. And now everybody's saying, all the YouTube creators are saying that what happened at Brown University and what happened to Nuno was the same person that went to Brown University, killed those people, killed him as well. because they were at the same place, they were at the same lecture in Portugal at one time. I don't know about that. It may have been a coincidence, it may have been a I think it was a targeted hit. And usually when these people come out and just do these alleged random things and then they delete themselves, there's something contrived about that. It's too much of a pattern. Yeah, why don't they target dummies? Exactly. They don't. They don't. I guarantee all of his intellectual property will be stolen now. Whatever his research was, I don't know if he had family that he left behind. Again, I haven't done any more research into him. I mean, evidently, it seemed like he lived alone. Yes, the free energy rabbit hole is very real and very suppressed. PTB do all they can to keep it hidden, up to taking out hits on an individual. End of the day, it's all about control of power and money. Absolutely. And that was the first thing that I thought when I read about him and what he did. Nick must be the exception. I don't know. It's sad. I mean, I get very upset when I see young people like him. Obviously, nobody had a bad word to say about him. Everything was wonderful. He was such a lovely man. He was a lovely person. His coworkers, his students, everybody adored him. But this seems to be a common theme. These are the people that they take out. Please remember to hit the thumbs up, guys. I see like there are 12 thumbs up and 22 people listening. But yes, so there's been a lot of very interesting news lately. Hi, John. If well, I have looked at that flight rider. I can't figure out. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. The flight radar. I'm not really finding anything. But the couple of times that I was able to capture a plane, I guess it was a couple of years ago when I used that program. They were like these weird black copters. That's true, Con Artist says, from what I hear, most universities are now overrun with large corporate entities like Monsanto, Palantir, toe the line or disappear. Yes. Oh, you click the plane and it says where it's to and from. Oh, okay. Your River Bluff says our world is a prison planet. No idea how we got trapped here. Hi, Cold Fact. Welcome, welcome. Yes, and well, didn't that happen to Tesla, Nikola Tesla? And then they stole everything from him. This is Cold Fact says this is purgatory, in my opinion. Yes, what ends up happening is there are departments in universities that there is funding from large companies, like Monsanto. They'll like fund an agriculture department. Hi, Mrs. Matson. Welcome, welcome. Colfax says, I've tested the theory. I used to think it was hell, but I see it's not permanent, and we have moments of penance. We're just guinea pigs for testing for when digital ID rolls out. That's a good point, just me. I wish they had free drone apps. There must be somewhere. Oh, well, he was married. Oh my goodness, Annie, thank you. He was married with 3 children. I didn't know that. Oh my goodness. So he was taken out as he's walking into the entrance or hallway. I hope his family wasn't home at that time. It's just so bizarre. And there's not enough being said about it. They're all claiming it's this one guy, and ironically, the guy's last name that they're claiming is the alleged shooter. His last name is Valente, which is my last name. Oh, it didn't say where his family was. Oh, I wonder if he was maybe his family was back in Portugal. I mean, that does happen sometimes where research professors will move around from different countries. It may be that he travels back and forth. Hi, Fred. Welcome. I didn't see you come in. Hi, Fred. Colfax, I feel exactly the same way. He says, I feel that Rob Reiner's son was targeted. He became violent due to the typical ways. And not only that, but he was on and off various pharmaceuticals since the age of 15. And it was fairly recent, within the last few months, that whatever psychiatrist he was seeing was changing up his meds. Now, you can't just change meds, and who knows how many he was taking. And the negative long-term side effects are horrendous. Aggression, suicide ideation, hearing voices. Conrad says he was a professor with integrity. The system no longer wants university staff with these attributes. Absolutely. He definitely looked targeted. In fact, in every family photo that you saw of him, even when he was younger, you could see the joy on the face of his brother, his other family members, his sister, but there was no joy on his face. And that to me reminds me of the ADHD Ritalin group, the Ritalin generation. They have been drugged out of their joy. And he looked like that person to me. Hi, Elsie. Welcome. Welcome. And it's only the tip of the iceberg with these people. Like we can look at him and say he looks like he may have been a targeted person. And then when you research his background and all the pharmaceutical drugs that he was prescribed just because he started using drugs. Now, a lot of times, a targeted person will start to use drugs to numb whatever it is that they're hearing or experiencing from the targeting. But he would not have known that he's a targeted person at the age of 15, and that perhaps, his family, his multi-millionaire family members, were successful because one of their 3 children was going to be targeted. He was self-medicating, exactly. And then, of course, you self-medicate too much, and all of those drugs are addictive. And the way addiction works, most people know, is that you're going to need more of the drug to get the same effects as you did originally. So it becomes horrendous. Then, let's say mommy and daddy take him to his first shrink at the age of 16 years old. The shrink says, "Oh, well, he's not going to ask about his problems, about what he's feeling, what he's thinking. He's just going to prescribe something." And at that young age, they just do what they're told to do. They just take pharmaceutical drugs. And you have to taper off these drugs. Literally, some of these pharmaceutical drugs, you go berserk. Oh, it happened to you too, cold fact? That's how they get a lot of us, by predisposing us early on. It happened to you. I'm sorry to hear that. Betrayal is the worst, cold fact. Your family sold you out. Yeah, the betrayals are so bad. And you just don't know, these huge Hollywood families, you just don't know. From everything that we hear, like, you don't get to be that famous, that wealthy, without selling part of your soul or one of your children. So who knows? We'll never know what the real story is. They put they put me in many girls' homes and started. Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry to hear that. I had a friend. Her name was Lynn. This is years and years ago when I was a camp counselor, and I met Lynn there. And she started confiding a lot of stuff in me, and she was this really sweet, pretty girl, and she came from a pretty wealthy family on Long Island. And she was prescribed lithium. I could not understand why until I met her father. She had invited me to her home, and actually it was a sleepover, and I met her mother and her father for the first time, and I'm telling you, I got the creepiest feeling from her father, the way he looked at me and the way she acted around him, and I knew that that father had been doing the dirty with Lynn, and that's why she was medicated with lithium. Yeah, Long Island is, it's really nice there. It's really nice. The program silences family with, "He's under investigation, so don't say nothing." Something of this nature. Yes. Oh, whenever they say it's under investigation, that's such a crock of BS. Do you know what's still under investigation here in Jackson County, Kentucky? The dead stuffed animal in my mailbox, November 26, 2024. Yes. Elsie says, "Y'all are some of the strongest people I know." Yet lithium is a psych drug. Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't understand why she was still taking this drug. It was horrible. It was killing her. But I knew after meeting her father, that was an evil man. Like, that family had some nasty secrets. It used to make you sick. Oh, that's so horrible. Exactly, Fred. Torturing people is labeled as under investigation. That's why we're considered non investigative subjects. John says psychotronic drugs and targeting bring out the worst in others. They search for others for Project Orion for false flag attacks. Well, I see that there are 32 people listening. Remember to hit the thumbs up, please, guys. As you come in, hit the thumbs up. There are 19 thumbs. Exactly. Not just on a watch list. That's one thing. But being harassed so badly is not on their original job duties. Well, what it is, what some people have said, and it makes perfect sense to me, they're trying to instigate a behavior that is not typical of you and I. Basically, what they're doing to my property, what they're doing to me personally and my animals is off the charts. They're trying to get me to react, to do something out of character, to call the sheriff's department again, which I will never do, ever. Oh, thank you, Elsie. But they make stuff up anyway. It doesn't matter. You don't have to ever call the sheriff's department. They're just going to make stuff up anyway. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up, guys. Yes, well, I'm still under investigation. You know why? They need to pad their money. They need to apply for their grants. They need to get the money in the community, the fake, fake, fake money. And that's why, and somebody mentioned it to me in an email, and I hadn't thought about it before, but it's absolutely true that all these participants, like in my community, the reason I can't locate their tax information online because it's supposed to be public is because those are all the ones that are on the take. They're on the money, they're paid informants. So they remove their information from the internet so that people like me can't find it. And the only neighbors information that I find for the Jackson County PVA property taxes are people that are not on the money take. Can't find anybody else. Cold Texas, but I didn't. But when I left out the car, I left her door open and walked off, so she'd have to get out and walk around and shut. That's all I could do to get her back. Let's see. Riverblood says, I just rewatched the Matrix trilogy. I'm convinced that it's the truth of our world. You know, I have never seen all of the Matrix. I think I saw one of them, and it's not really my thing. It's not like the type of film that I'm interested in. But as a targeted person and the way of the world and stuff, it makes a lot more sense. Joe says, I wish you could hire a vigilante service. Too bad it's not a real thing. Oh, yeah. Just like they live. That's the truth, too. Well, I've actually watched some of the films that you guys have mentioned on YouTube. Nick says, I'm going to look up my neighbor's property tax to see who's protected. That's what it is. Oh, Susie Dawson talked about the informant's information and CV in WikiLeaks. Twilight Zone, Truman Show, The Body Snatchers, The Stepford Wives. Yes, I remember those two. I've never seen The Truman Show, but when The Twilight Zone was on television back in the day, I watched The Twilight Zone. I saw the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I saw the original one and the original Stepford Wives. Those were creepy. My mother was interested in watching all that stuff, so it's always on the TV. We'd watch things like The Outer Limits. Yeah, there's so many films that I need to watch. I just don't have time. Like, generally, I'll be typing email and listening to something on my phone at the same time, and then I've gotta get up and feed cats, some cats at my door. Oh, yeah, the birds. Yes, yes. Oh, all of Alfred Hitchcock films were cool. Imagine having that kind of mind to dream up these horror shows. The next Netflix show, The Madness, has many elements of being a targeted individual. Yeah, I've not heard of that. I don't have Netflix. I don't actually don't have a TV. Hi, Myth Alex. Welcome. Alex says, "How can we protect ourselves against their biofrequency disruptors?" Well, what they do is they infect our homes. And I actually took out my black light the other night, and I was horrified. So I turned it off. I didn't even want to look anymore. So they infect your home with nanotechnology, nano dust. They infect your food so that you ingest it. They spray it over your property. They spray it in your house so that you are forced to inhale it. So, taking hot Epsom salt baths, baking soda, cilantro, turmeric, nothing but water is the only way to dull the frequencies. Well, they've actually targeted me in the shower. They did something underneath my bathtub. Like, I can feel my feet vibrating when I'm in the shower. These are sick people. Hi, Maximilian. Welcome, welcome. Well, the one thing that I really like, I don't know, I haven't used a regular pillow in a long time, but is a water pillow. I'll just type it. Oh, you're welcome. Rather than say it, I'll write some things in the chat. Your bed is constantly at 80, 90 micro Tesla. Hi, SCL. Welcome, welcome. Remember to hit the thumbs up, guys. This is what I find about shielding is once you buy it, it works for a little while, and then they just amp up the targeting to get around whatever it is that you're doing to protect yourself. I literally sleep on a gel mattress on a wood frame and use a water pillow. And on top of my body, I have either five or six layers of blankets, including a rubber yoga mat. Oh, you found your channel 2 days ago. Welcome. See, there are some things that YouTube doesn't like us discussing, so I'm happy to write it down. There's a YouTube creator that I like a lot. They just deleted his channel. I'll write the name of his they deleted his channel for medical misinformation. So you can find him on Rumble and BitChute. Oh, that's interesting, River Bluff. Something that I purchased on Amazon. Let me go find it. Hopefully, a lot of times when I'm in the live chat and I try to go find something on Amazon, my screen freezes. Let me see if I can find it. It's like an sort of like a something that you can freeze and then place it on top of your head if you wake up with a headache. Oh, Matson says there is reconstruction under our tub, and the house itself vibrates and moves, but the tub itself is on joists that have a split like slip joint added to exaggerate movement. Ugh, the lengths that they go through is this is insanity. So John says that they're silencing those, demonetizing in the UK and Australia from speaking against their narrative. Oh, the copper supplements. Well, you know what? You probably just search to see what foods contain copper. I don't remember. Exactly, cold fact. You can have a live. You don't have to have a face. And then after your live shuts down, you can add a thumbnail. Yes, hi, Get a Life, welcome. A Faraday beanie. Yeah, there's one that I really like. It was stolen 3 times, so I know it obviously works. It's called a brain coat. I'm not affiliated with them, and I do want to buy another one eventually. That one is so comfortable and it covers your ears. I know, SDL. Yeah, they shut his channel down. They just deleted the whole thing. Maximilian says my mother used to run a restaurant in France. They only used copper utensils in the 80s and 90s, but they banned use of it at the end of the 90s. Oh, you brought aluminum window screen from Lowe's and made a shield with that. It seems to work, hit or miss. Yes. Yeah, Matt is really good. Like I have purchased from his store, but he's still on Rumble and BitChute and Odyssey, and I'm on his mailing list. So whatever announcements he has will go that way. Oh, they absolutely love to amp up their tactics around the holidays. Yes. You called the sheriff's department. Am I in trouble now? Well, it depends. Why did you call the sheriff's department? Hi, Julius. Welcome. Remember to hit the thumbs up, guys. I'm going to see if I could find that thing that I purchased on Amazon. 1 second. I have to go into my orders. See, what was it called? Oh, here it is. This is really good. 1 second. STL says, it's intense, a lot of yanking of my body via elf wave. It feels like compression and pulling, body hijacking. Oh no, the creepy voice. Creepy voice is here? Well, at least we got an hour without creepy. we got an hour of reprieve without the creep, who's probably doing somebody else's live. Oh, you have that cap. Yes, yes. I have no control over the creepy voice. Tell the creepy voice to articulate or get an appointment for the orphology because we don't understand a word he says. Well, if you missed the first hour, you can hear it on the replay. I haven't read anything yet, so yes, they're always in your home when you're out. Do you think Creepy Voice is on vacation next week? We'll see. We'll see. Maybe Creepy Voice is on contract, and maybe in January the contract will end. You will see who's new on the scene. Usually in January. But usually my local criminals, they're usually quiet around this time anyway. They start usually start up again in March. Yes. The question is, has anyone else experienced foods or water they like being tampered with? Yes. Yes. In fact, I have a short about what they did to my peanut butter. Yes, and they changed the teams a lot so that the teams won't become fond of you. Yeah, yeah. No, they have to bring in the new crowd because the old ones get moved around to somebody else. It's an excellent time of the year to water the county road. Yeah. Yeah. Clean road is good. Yes. Yep, it turns to ice. Yes. Well, these losers, they still go out in the bad weather. It's fine with me. I'll stay home. Nick says, "Yes, Amy, they leave stuff that doesn't belong to me. An ear, my peanut butter. Lorraine sent you an email on cloaking today." Oh, oh yes, I saw that, SDL. I saw that. I saw that. That is exactly what it looks like. You could see their feet, but their body kind of, when their body is somewhat cloaked. It's cloaked, and then when they start moving, it's different. Well, see, the mainstream news needs to be reporting on this. I mean, this is a very serious matter. That could be cloaked in your house. You won't know it. That's right. They come after the food that you use on a regular basis. Yes. Matson says, I've gotten notes on things like on plywood stating what I did today by the end of today. So if you don't ever hear from me again, it was them. Ugh, that's horrible. No, they can't pass through walls, but how does stuff get moved while you're in the house? Well, actually, I have witnessed this. When I lived in New Jersey, I had to buy baby monitors to see what they were doing. I would go upstairs to my bedroom, and one of my uh, bathroom drawers that I always keep closed would be open, and makeup that was in that drawer would be on the floor. I would look around, my cats would be asleep, there's nobody there. I close it. I bought baby monitors, put the baby monitor on the drawer to view the drawer, and I would watch it from downstairs. Suddenly, they would disconnect the baby monitors. I would go upstairs, the drawer would be open. So they're either doing it because they're in the house and they're invisible, or they're doing it with some electromagnetic field. I mean, it's the only way I could describe it. But it's just a way of messing with your head. That's interesting. The router in your home could be used to monitor your movements. It's called Wi-Fi sensing. You search your house with a swing handle every day in search of the invisible man before sleeping. Well, I found out that you can find them with a laser pointer. You know those laser pointers that you play with your cats with? Yeah, they mess with stuff when you're in the house. You're taking your purse to the damn bathroom. It's witchcraft. Yes, yes, it is witchcraft. Hit the thumbs up, guys. No, it's not cool. They think it's funny. They think it's funny to play with somebody's head, play with somebody's life. It's horrible. Yeah, the laser pointer. But they actually show up on your cameras. They think that their invisibility suit protects them. The one thing that doesn't protect them is a motion sensor light. If you put up motion sensor lights, these losers get in the pep. That's why they have taken down so many of my motion sensor lights. So far, I think they have destroyed at least 8 of my motion lights. I had them everywhere. I just had to buy a whole bunch of them. I just haven't had time to install them. Please remember to hit the thumbs up, guys. I see 30 thumbs up and 44 people watching, but let's see. I can literally look back and see this happening to me throughout my whole life. Oh yeah, they do destroy the cameras. I've had 6 cameras destroyed since I'm living here. Six security cameras and 2 other cameras. The motion sensor lights, yep. And what they do is they, like the one that's on my porch, obviously they use some kind of laser or taser on it to black out black out some of the lights so that it's not as bright anymore. Let's see, use your camera with a nylon stocking stretch over the lens to see. Oh, wow. Listen to this, guys. Use your camera with a nylon stocking stretch over the lens to see them. Well, I'm not going to say that on the channel, that Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson. Yes, it does make you feel sick and nauseous. But that could also be if they poisoned your food. Hi, Tony. Welcome. Is who muted? Hi, Eden. Welcome. How are you doing? Oh my goodness. Well, I have some new books. I think I'm going to read some things all by yourself since they got. Oh, you got your dog sick. Remember to hit the thumbs up when you come in. Oh my goodness, there are 33 thumbs up. Okay, we need at least one more, guys. 33 thumbs up. Well, speaking of 33, I think I'm going to take out my new book, my new Masonic F-ckary book by the girl born on Friday the 13th by Shonda L. Day. Maximilian says made me want to watch the Pink Panther again. Those are so cool. He was such a cool cat, right? A Pink Panther too. He's a private detective, a sleuth. Oh, you were I know. I saw your video that you were poisoned. Do you know what it was that? Do you know what it was that was poisoning you? Oh, you watched the Pink Panther earlier tonight. That's so funny. Oh my goodness, I'm an influencer. Everybody's watching the Pink Panther now. So I'm going to get this book, flip through it, see if there's any little tidbits I can find here. And these criminals have, they're burning me so badly. And for all you people out there that are new, they do target your private parts. So don't be embarrassed about it. They can heat you up so badly that you will develop boils from them heating you. And a weeping willow, who's a targeted female, on her channel, she was mentioning bentonite clay, and it has been helping. Let's see. Yeah, the Pink Panther. Maximilian is singing for us. That's so funny. Yeah, the creepy voices is back. Whatever it was came out orange and brown in your tub. I had to soak with sea salt and bentonite clay. Oh, good. Orange and brown. Now, do you think it was something that he sprayed in your house? Hi, Annie. Oh, yes, the black dust. That's that graphene. They spread the graphene. Yes, the activated charcoal too, which is what I have to take. Orange and brown. That's so weird. Let's see. I don't believe that new guy that posts he's targeted, the one from Canada. I don't know who it is. Oh, yes, ginger and peppermint tea. Yeah, peppermint tea is yummy. Yeah, I don't know who that is. Cold fact. Is he in the chat or just a new person posting videos? It's very possible, Eden's living, that it was a neurotoxin. The black goo graphene, yes, the graphene dust. It's disgusting. They spread it in my chicken coops. And of course, I have to clean those chicken coops, and I'm inhaling it. Well, there are a lot of people that post videos on targeting that are not targeted. They're not like on a list. They're not on a government list. I've mentioned this before. And then, I get backlash from people saying, oh, well, everybody's targeted differently. And that's true. We're all targeted differently, but not everybody's a targeted person. There are a lot of agents, there are a lot of fakes, there are a lot of people making money on YouTube pretending to be targeted, and they're not. Let's see what I have to read here. I'm just going to read what the author says here. Let's see, they sent an exterminator to my apartment who put bugs in my. I believe that. Oh, they definitely throw bugs, insects, wasps, ants. Oh, it's ridiculous. They do that. Nano dust and the goof, yeah, the goofer dust. The goofer dust they usually place above your door, above an entrance. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Cold fact. I've been wanting to make a video about one person in the community about that runs a podcast, and I just haven't done it yet, but I will. Common people tell you stories are targeted, but they just don't know it. What does goofer dust do? It's something these witches use. It's mixed with all kinds of things. And they spread it around. I think you know what? I think I might have created a video about it. Let me just check 1 second. Oh yeah, I do. I have 2 videos. I'll post the links. Actually, I have a photo of it as the thumbnail. So in the link that I just posted, nano dust, nanotech, occult goofer dust. The thumbnail shows you what it looks like, what I wiped off of a ledge. Yes, witches and warlocks rule every sector in your area. Exterminators are a huge part of the targeting, and yes, they will infest your home, says Eden. Ground bones, powder cemetery dirt, ground bugs, blood, bodily fluids. Oh, well, thank you. That sounds so delicious and appetizing. So this is another video that I created on the goofer dust. Let's see. Matson says, yes, get a pair of booties in nylon and try it. It's a happy accident that I found this works. I had a phone in a front pocket and my shirt fell over. My shirt fell over it while I was trying to be sneaky and found that it works. OSDL says it's like tossing demons at your front door. Some have toxic chemicals mixed in. Oh, you had on your bed and pillows. Ugh. These people are disgusting. Exactly. Like, you know your environment. You've lived your life all of these years, and then suddenly you get targeted, and you've got all these weird things happening that are off the charts, that are not consistent with your reality, but they want to make it your reality. They're creating a new reality. So I'm going to read a little here. Let's see. You found a metal clip on your back right shoulder blade. I think it's Bill Gates medication. Oh no, that's horrible. Colfax says they literally had a neighbor 2 doors down brutally assault me. No one in the neighborhood did anything, and I had to fight for the prosecutors to press charges. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. So I'm just going to read a little bit about what the author writes in this book. The book is called, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. I'll write it. It's an Illuminati expose of anarchy, mayhem, ritual abuse, gang stalking, and targeted individuals. The author's welcome note. To the reader, if you're holding this book, it's not by accident. You were meant to see this. You were meant to feel it in your gut that something in this world isn't right. That what they taught you in school and church and courtrooms and media broadcasts was never the full story. You might not know exactly what you're looking for yet, but something brought you here. Maybe it was a betrayal, a haunting, a strange pattern that no one else seemed to notice. Maybe it was a whisper inside you that said, keep going. This book is not for the faint of heart. It's for the ones who already saw the cracks in the system. It's for the spiritually gifted, deeply targeted, the ones labeled unstable for knowing too much, and the ones who never stopped asking questions, even when it cost them everything. What you're about to read is raw, it is researched, it is personal, and it's backed by thousands of voices who never made the news, who never got their day in court, and who never got justice until now. This is a collection of forbidden truths about Freemasonry, about gang stalking, about government betrayal, and about century old playbook designed to break, bind, and blind humanity. You may feel anger, you may feel grief, but above all, I hope you feel clarity. I hope you remember who you are and what you came here to expose. I welcome you, not just as a reader, but as a witness. Let the truth disturb you, then let it set you free. In gratitude, Shonda L, Psychic Echo Sunrise, author of The V2K Killers, Politically Tortured, and other works exposing global corruption and spiritual warfare. Let's see what you're saying here. King Philip the Fair had the Templars arrested on Friday, October 13, 1307, marking the beginning of their end. I give thanks for demons who have tried to con me into dealing with satanic. Hi, targeted ones, welcome. So I just started reading a little bit from a book that I received from one of our subscribers. That is the book fairy, the book angel. And this book says on page 5, graphic warning. This book contains disturbing accounts of psychological manipulation, spiritual warfare, and real world tragedies connected to V2K and targeted individuals. Reader discretion is strongly advised. So this is for educational purposes only. I'm reading a book. Chapter 1, The Real Reason that Freemasons Fear Friday the 13th. Before the year is out, you will answer to God for your crimes. Jacques de Molay, Grand Master of the Knights Templar, 1314. Friday the 13th is not cursed for us. It's cursed for them. For centuries, we've been told it's a dark day of bad luck, a superstition tied to broken mirrors, black cats, and strange accidents. But that narrative was never meant to protect the public. It was meant to protect the powerful. Yes, it is. It's sociopathic. Yes, it is, Amy. Because on Friday, October 13th, 1307, something very real happened, something they've been trying to bury ever since. That was the day the Vatican and the French crown launched a coordinated attack on the Knights Templar. Hi, his girl, welcome. These weren't rogue criminals or heretics. They were loyal warrior monks who had amassed wealth, land, and influence that threatened the church and monarchy. The attack came from King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement V, two men who were never true spiritual leaders, but power-hungry manipulators driven by greed. Oh, we don't know anything about that, huh? Along with their papal and royal allies, they formed a political gang aligned through bloodline, money, and deception. They were not Templars. They were the betrayers. Yeah, Amy says one of the symptoms in the last few years that many of us experience is frequent nausea. Hi, Vivian. False charges were fabricated. Heresy, devil worship, blasphemy, sodomy. Every weaponized accusation they could use to justify the seizure of land and gold. Templars were tortured, imprisoned, and murdered. Their Grand Master Jacques de Molay was buried alive at the stake, but before his execution he issued a chilling curse. Quote, "You will see me before God, both of you, before the year is out," unquote. Within months, both the Pope and the King were dead. Pope Clement V died of sudden illness, and during his funeral, his body was consumed by a mysterious fire. King Philip IV died shortly after, thrown from his horse during a hunt, his skull crushed by the fall. No man could have orchestrated it, but the curse had already been spoken. That's right, River Bluff, extremely cowardly, who hides in an apartment over, shoots people with EMFs, and then thinks that they're a badass. Exactly. And that's why they fear this day. It wasn't a curse placed on the people, it was a curse sealed upon the very elites who orchestrated the betrayal. So we need to celebrate Friday the 13th, guys. The greatest deception came later. It wasn't the Knights of Templar who became the Freemasons. It was the people who destroyed them. The kings, the popes, the elite bloodlines who burned their leaders alive and stole their secrets. Maximilian says the king invoked heresy, sodomy, and the desecration of the cross to justify the intervention based on denunciations of former members. Yes, the ginger tea is very good for that, Amy. And peppermint tea. The greatest deception came later. It wasn't the Knights of Templar who became the Freemasons, it was the people who destroyed them. The kings, popes, elite bloodlines who burned their leaders alive and stole their secrets. Over time, the same network branded itself as a brotherhood, claiming false lineage to the very order they dismantled. They didn't preserve the legacy, they stole it. They didn't carry forward Templar mission, they erased it, replaced it, and then claimed it as their own. Today, Freemasonry traces itself back to the Templars, but the line is built on lies. The men who now wear aprons and rings, who build temples to ancient gods, and who rule quietly behind the scenes, they're not spiritual descendants of the persecuted. They are descendants of the persecutors. The fear surrounding Friday the 13th was never divine. It was man made, a psychological operation launched to hide their shame and divert attention from the one day in history they could never erase. A day when they committed spiritual treason and marked themselves forever. That's why they rewrote the story. That's why they buried the truth. Because Friday the 13th wasn't cursed for us, it was a day they cursed themselves. And here's the truth they can't outrun. What they falsely charged the Templars with, sodomy, devil worship, corruption, is what they themselves went on to build in secret. They didn't just steal the Templars' gold, they stole their legacy, flipped the story, and used the same accusations to cover their own crimes. What they once punished is now their practice, and the world is finally starting to see it. Let's see what you guys are saying. Another side effect I began getting was constant runny nose and watery eyes. Let's see. The king was a high level gang stalker, Julia says. They didn't just steal the Templars' gold, they stole their legacy, flipped the story, and used the same accusations to cover their own crimes. What they once punished is now their practice, and the world is finally starting to see it. For centuries, they've used the same tactic, accusing others of the very evil they carry out. Well, isn't that exactly what your provocateur gang stalkers do? The gaslighting, they accuse others of the very evil they carry out. Those same families are still practicing the same dark rites, sodomy, ritual abuse, satanic worship, while blaming others to keep the spotlight off themselves this very day. Joe says, what every TI must do is work on your emotions and your reactions. The reason the person do so many jump scares is because every time your body reacts, it's pumping cortisol. Yes, that's true. They're trying to make you have a stroke or a heart attack. Let's see. I just being caught off guard by their tactics. Stay grounded and centered as much as possible. It's how they manipulated the fall of the Templars, just like they lied about Friday the 13th, the Bible, and more. They spent centuries accusing others of the very crimes that they commit. And it's how they still operate today, painting truth tellers as mad, spirituals as unstable, and themselves as holy. Yeah, like the little gang stalker poopy nurse down the block. She had the audacity to drive with a license plate that said blessed when she sold her soul to the devil as a gang stalker, as a provocateur. Yeah, so they like to flip it, flip it, flip the switch. It's a pattern. Frame the innocent, hide behind propaganda, and distract the public with fear. That's the root of their power, deception. And everything this book exposes follows the same formula. Lies told so loudly and for so long, the world forgot to ask who started them. This book pulls back the curtain on the longest con in history, the war of deception designed to keep the world asleep. Friday the 13th is not cursed for us, it's cursed for them. For centuries, we've been told it's a dark day of bad luck, a superstition tied to broken mirrors, black cats, and strange accidents. But that narrative was never meant to protect the public, it was meant to protect the powerful. Because on Friday the 13th, something real happened, something they've been trying to bury ever since. That was the day the Vatican and the French crown launched a coordinated attack on the Knights of Templar. Oh, wait, I just. For centuries, they've used the same tactics, accusing others of the very evil they carry out. It's how they manipulated the fall of the Templars, just like they lied about Friday the 13th, the Bible, and more. You know what? I just skipped. For centuries, humanity has been forced to worship a version of truth that was never theirs to begin with. The Bible, as we know it today, did not fall from the sky untouched. It was not protected by the divine. It was manipulated, edited, filtered, and weaponized by powerful men who feared what would happen if people ever truly awakened to who they were. What started as sacred wisdom became a blueprint for subjugation. It passed through the hands of kings, emperors, Freemasons, and Vatican authorities, all of whom had one thing in common: the desire to control what you believe, how you worship, and who you obey. From the beginning, religion was never just about faith. It was about domination. It was about empire. It was about bloodlines, land, and war. The Bible became the greatest psychological operation ever devised, a global tool used to shape minds, create class hierarchies, and instill a spiritual caste system that still divides us today. By tampering with sacred texts, deleting powerful teachings, and elevating secret narratives, the ruling elite, which I call delete, created a one size fits all theology designed to keep people obedient. Not obedient to God, but obedient to kings, popes, preachers, slave owners, and soldiers. We were told it was holy, but what we were given was heavily censored. Many texts were stripped out, like the Gospel of Mary, which spoke of divine feminine wisdom, and the Gospel of Thomas, which emphasized inner knowing and power, and the Book of Enoch, which described ancient watchers, star-born bloodlines, and celestial justice. These weren't minor omissions, these were surgical deletions meant to sever humanity from its memory of spiritual law, reincarnation, divine sovereignty, and sacred balance. They took away everything that reminded us we didn't need their priests, temples, or politics. They made sure that your access to the divine would always require a middleman. And while they erased your spiritual autonomy, they also used the Bible to institutionalize division. They took the same book and splintered it into thousands of interpretations: Catholic, Baptist, Pentecostal, Lutheran, evangelical, Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, and more, each one convinced it was the only truth. Then they told each group the others were false, demonic, or damned. They didn't create one religion, they created a battlefield of doctrines. They didn't build churches to unify humanity, they built them to divide it by race, by tribe, by gender, by class, and by fear. I'm just reading what you're writing here. The Roman Catholic DNA, the Rome Pope DNA being a religious leader, religious order. I've heard from other people that they do use pesticides and fertilizer. They told Africans that they were cursed through the mark of Ham. They told indigenous tribes that their ancient gods were demonic. And I'm reading a book, YouTube, just reading a book. They rewrote Jesus as a European, erasing his Middle Eastern identity, recasting him in the image of imperial whiteness. They used scripture to justify slavery, to colonize entire continents, and to convince generations of people that suffering was part of God's plan. In truth, it was always part of theirs. The Bible became the ultimate license for conquest. Behind its pages, entire civilizations were destroyed. Under its banner, people were burned alive, enslaved, raped, silenced, and stripped of their language, land, and identity. Even now, many still defend that same book without ever asking who put it together, what they removed, and what system is truly served. Oh, I've been saying that for years, and I did not grow up with a Bible. But I always question, like, who wrote the Bible? Like, God didn't write the Bible. And who keeps editing the Bible? And, like, why? Let's see. It's amazing how they will totally refurbish the stores we frequent, change employees, and upgrade the store's interior. I've seen it done many times. It's wild. Yes, you know what? You can also, let's see. They softly approach, makes parasites angry, and they start to release many toxins. Let's see. You can actually purchase cilantro in a liquid form, little droplets, or you can buy the raw herb. I'm going to write something in the chat here. And you remember, like back in the day, you'd watch all those vampire films, and people would hang garlic outside of their door. So she goes on to say in the book, this chapter is not an attack on God, spirit, or belief. It's a confrontation with a machinery that rewrote what was once divine. It's an unmasking of the free Masonic fingerprints, Vatican rituals, and royal bloodlines that infiltrated faith and sold it back to us in chains. To understand how Freemasonry, colonial powers, and hidden elites divided humanity, you have to understand how the Bible was edited, who ordered those edits, and why it was necessary to suppress spiritual truth in order to preserve institutional power. Because if the people ever realized that their connection to God never required a king, a church, or a holy war, the whole system would collapse overnight. I'm going to end on that note. This is page 24, and I'll continue reading this another time. Oh, yeah, that's great. That honey is so good. Manuka honey. It's a little pricey. It's a little bit pricey. And aloe. I'm going to step away for just a minute. Okay. Oh, the creepy voice is still there? Hi, Myth Alex. Welcome. Another type of honey that I really like, it's like creamed honey. Let me see if I can find it. I have such a mess in my house. The creepy voice has to be. Oh, I think it's a recording. Yeah, I think it's a recording, and it showed up an hour into the chat. Oh, good night, SDL. Hi, very soon. Oh yeah, I bought that. I just bought those the oregano oil in little gel tabs. Oh, is that right? Creamed honey is a cheaper form of honey? Really? It's so thick. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. Let's see if I can find it. I'll show you. It's actually thicker than the regular honey that I was buying. Really? Yeah, the aloe is good. Yeah, this is the one that I've been buying. Oh, interesting. Oh, I'm going to have to look into that now. Yeah, I have not used a microwave for food. Since I moved from New Jersey, I have not used the microwave for food. Yeah, the black seed oil is very good too. You could actually buy the black seeds themselves. They're like sesame seeds. They taste good. They taste good in food. It is. The honey is delicious. Yes, exactly. No, SCL. I saw that. I saw that he had been diagnosed with schizophrenia. That's why we were saying earlier before you popped on that we think Rob Reiner's son is targeted and that he's had a false diagnosis. Yeah, the honey's actually delicious. I like honey. Like I always eat. I eat honey every day, and I've tried so many different kinds of honey. Most of the honeys like that you buy in the store are just like watered down or like molassesy like. Yeah, I believe he was a targeted person. I believe he was targeted. Well, thank you, SDL. Thank you. Have a good night. We're going to be signing off in about 10 minutes anyway. Yes, he's a targeted person, and so many of these targeted people are medicated. The medications have negative side effects. They increase the targeting, and then they set people up for crimes, just like this kid. And isn't it ironic? Like literally within the last 5 years or so, how many children have killed their parents? It seems to be an agenda. Perhaps it's a program. Yes, schizophrenia is overly diagnosed. And actually, it's nothing more than a defense mechanism, according to. It is diabolic. According to a R.D. Lang, back in the day, that schizophrenia was nothing more than a defense mechanism. And John Forbes Nash, the Princeton professor who invented game theory, was not schizophrenic. What is that, Joe? Is it something that is sold? I can't stand it when you hear it in the news about having quote unquote mental health issues. That's another terminology that has been, I don't know, probably the last dozen years. Oh, I've heard about that, Joe. I've heard about that. Also, you can see in all of the family photos, like even going back to when he was younger, he's the only he's the only one in the family that appeared as if his joy was taken away from him. And isn't he the youngest? Yeah, I think he's the youngest. So he's got an older brother and sister. And then you have these YouTube creators talking about it. Like I watched one briefly and I turned it off. She seemed like she was nice enough and everything, but her husband is a psychiatrist, and she's going on and talking about schizophrenia and all the things associated with it and how he's diagnosed with it. And I'm thinking, you know what, she's just spreading more horrible information. I can't stand it. You know, for years before, probably 10 years ago, um, bipolar disorder was the main thing that people were diagnosed. And then before that, it was ADHD. You know, they come up with new terminologies every couple, 10 years or so. Exactly, because exactly, cold fact. It's sad because people won't ever know the truth. The parents were more than likely, yep, in on it. Yes. And think about that is one person now that will not partake in the money that's left behind, or he'll end up using it all on a legal counsel. Well, I think they tried to help their son, but I don't think they understood why he was the way he was. And most people are not aware of the really negative long-term side effects of all the cocktail drugs that he was on. They all chalked it up to him having an addiction problem. Exactly, it is chaos by design. That's a good point, Max. That's a good point that he was on MK Ultra like a lot of the elite's children. Yes, they always choose one, and I think he was the youngest. And since there were two sons, they selected him. He was the youngest. Hi, Ace of Cups, welcome. We're only going to be here another 10 minutes or so. Actually, 3 minutes. We're only going to be here another few minutes. Hi, real Bear Bauer. That incessant mumbling in the background is a creepy voice. Creepy voice is an intruder on my live stream and in my home cameras. So it is the perpetrators that are targeting me directly. So you all get to hear what they do because it's evidence. You're witnessing evidence of my live stream tampering. That's a good point, con artist, about how the DSM has grown. Yes, it has expanded. Ace of Cups said, "Creepy voice is a distant cousin of Poopy Nurse." That is a good one. The one thing about targeted people, we all have a great sense of humor. I mean, it's like you have to have a sense of humor to get through this nonsense. Now, I guarantee if any of my neighbors had to experience what I do, they wouldn't make it after a week. There's one, I think that she would lose her mind. There's one of my neighbors, she would lose it in a heartbeat. She's already histrionic. So, guys, thank you all for joining in the chat. I really appreciate it. Yeah, yes, it's not just children of the elite, a lot of us. That's true. Yeah, that's true. And yes, thank you everybody for joining in the chat and for sharing information. It helps everybody to realize that they're not alone. You're not alone in this. And just remember, tomorrow is the winter solstice. So, actually, after that, it's supposed to be getting a little bit lighter outside. Thank you, Joe, for being moderator. Let's see, Jessica, before you go, let's see. Can you give us a preview of upcoming video topics? I don't know yet. I'm not sure yet. I have a testimony that I recorded before this live stream, and I have to edit it a little bit because I said a word that I think YouTube is going to be all over. So I'm going to cut out the word if I can get to it. Yes, yes, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, so I do have some other topics that I'm going to talk about, but I'm also going to create another channel. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I have to name the channel. I was trying to do that today. I spent way too much time trying to go through the numerology of what was the best. And then, of course, there were other channels with the same name, and I didn't want the same name as other channels, for to be confused. And then I was going to add my name, Lorraine, in it to make it mine, and that nobody else has that. So let's see. Even though Christmas is Nimrod's birthday, not Jesus' birthday, the Romans would not have tortured Jesus in the snow. They wanted to bake him in the sun. Oh, horrible, horrible. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you. Have a great next week, everybody. Joe says, remember to stay grounded and centered as much as possible, and you're comfortable. Record with your phone. Get that evidence and prove that what you're going through. Yes. And ignore them. Just ignore these losers. They're losers. They want your attention. They're like that kid, remember when you were in junior high school or grade school, you always had that little kid in the back of the classroom trying to get everybody's attention. That's what they are. They're attention whores. So good night, everybody. Thank you for joining in. And if you haven't hit the thumbs up, please do so. And I'll see you in the next video. Good night, everybody.